In 1971, 24-year-old Steven Spielberg first made his directorial appearance with a 90-minute movie about a salesman driving around in the desert being chased around by an old beat-up oil tanker truck driven by an anonymous driver with no motivation, no name, no origins. This was 1971. They didn't use CGI, they used practical evidences, using a truck as a predator rather than the monster itself. Today, we are counting down the 20 weird details behind the Peterbilt truck from the movie Duel. Number 1. The vehicle. The vehicle itself is a 1950s era Peterbilt tanker truck, a 281 model perhaps. The Peterbilt 281 was chosen for the movie because Steven Spielberg thought it was the most useful thing to be considered as a character. Number 2, the truck had a face. It is true, Steven Spielberg said the front of the truck was framed to look like a face, with the radiator grille appearing as a mouth full of chrome teeth. This would obviously give the anonymity of having the truck being a character more than just a vehicle. Number 3, the headlights look like eyes. The two round headlights on the truck were intentionally emphasized to represent malicious, staring eyes that look directly at you when you look at the rear view mirror. Number 4, casting the vehicles. The truck's rust, patina, and road grime were used to create a battle-damaged look with streaks underneath the headlights resembling bags under tired eyes. This was likely the idea of making the truck look more uglier and nastier to make it look like it had prowled highways through those years. Number 5, the unseen driver. We never saw the driver's face because it was never revealed. Only his arms and boots are occasionally shown. What made the truck driver not even seen on camera just makes the film more scarier and more intense because you don't actually see the driver's face, making the truck a real villain. The driver is its soul, and sometimes the mechanical monster doesn't need a driver. It just needs something to possess it, make it come alive, and that was all it was made of it. Number 6, additional vehicle. Spielberg chose the 1951 Peterbilt 281 tanker from different trucks for its menacing appearance. This is likely that Steven Spielberg chose the 281 from 1955 because he thought the track of this truck was likely more the face of a predator, a face of evil. Number 7, key features. The split windshield. The truck featured a distinct split windshield which contributed to its old menacing appearance. The split windshield makes it look like eyebrows that could bend and form eyebrows that could even stare right at you like an angry, growling face. Very creepy and very spooky. Number 8, the tanker. The truck was pulling a 1940s era tanker trailer, specifically most to make the truck look more nastier, more scarier. And sometimes fiction doesn't usually need to be faked by some people. Duel, however, used one specific rule. Use something physical, something more mundane, something that could easily terrify you by not even looking back. But when you look back twice, it just makes things more unsettling. Number 9, it wasn't just a single truck. You thought the Duel truck was just one singular truck. Wrong. It wasn't just a single truck. There were multiple trucks used. While one main truck was used for most of the film, since it was made for TV, the movie version only ran for 90 minutes. So, production actually utilizes all three models, with some differences in models, makes, appearances, and even face designs. Number 10, the surviving truck. The truck that was mainly used for most likely the TV version, was actually the surviving truck, sometimes referred to as the backup truck, which is likely a 1960 model from unlike the 1955 model, which is the 1955 model was a 281 tanker driven by a uni-axle, not a dual drive axle. Number 11, the owner of the surviving truck. Brad White of North Carolina owns the only remaining real truck from the movie. So this could likely mean that Brad got the truck shipped over to North Carolina, which is practically a popular location for truckers. And it's now being privately owned by him, and everyone thought of it as the real movie truck that terrorized Dennis Weaver in the movie. Number 12, the real power plant. The real truck originally features a Caterpillar power plant, but the surviving 1960 model truck uses a Cummins 350 small camshaft power plant. This could likely be that most of the trucks actually use different engines in different trucks, making it seem like the truck had a different voice, making it more unsettlingly creepy because no one really understands why the truck would change voices. Number 13, the transmission trouble. The Survivor truck features a 523 transmission, often called the twin stick or a 15-speed setup. However, controlling the truck with that kind of transmission was difficult. The driver has to punch on the clutch and try to force the lever to go forward. One missed shift, the grease and grime on the transmission could easily grind, making the truck roar with fury and rage. Number 14, modifying the horn. The horns on the Survivor truck were bent to match the appearance of the main filming truck. Because the truck was so battered and bruised and beaten up so badly, the filmmakers decided to bend one of the truck's air horns, making it look like the truck just climbed out of a grave, making it more unsettlingly unreal to believe that it was still alive. Number 15, the swamp cooler. A swamp cooler, orally evaporated air cooler, was added to the back of the cab on the Survivor truck. None of us really know what that actually does, but I think it does do is cool off the engine, because without an air cooler, the engine would sometimes break down or malfunction in very hot circumstances. Number 16, lack of modern safety. Because of the truck had been made in the 1950s, it lacked any power steering and a jake brake, making it difficult to drive. This could also mean that the truck was dangerously going to oversteer and likely cause an accident. If one wasn't careful, the dangerous maneuvers on this truck could likely end someone else's lives, but also the filmmakers' lives, because this truck could actually be more dangerous than you might actually think that it was just pretending on camera. Number 17, the speed limit lie. The truck was never really fast in the movie. In fact, they had to slow the Plymouth down to make the truck catch up. The actual truck only reaches up from speeds from likely 60 to 70 kilometer per hour. The slow heavy truck wasn't really that fast in real life, because a real heavy duty big rig like that could only match up a speed less than 100 kilometers per hour. Number 18, the final place of the crash. The main truck used for the final crash was destroyed at the end, driving over a real cliff. And guess what? Yes, they did. They drove the actual Peterbilt right off the cliff at the end, destroying the vehicle upon impact. But however, during the impact, the truck's frame buckled so hard that the truck let out a deafening roar. It wasn't just fake, it was real. The deafening roar of the truck when it drove over that cliff was real. Number 19. It had replicas. While some scenes in the extended movie featured a 1962 or 1968 Peterbilt 351 due to the 1955 model being destroyed at the end of the film. For the 90-minute run, they actually did more than just one truck. They did three. Not just one truck, it was definitely three. Number 20. The legacy that made killer cars. Through anthropomorphic styling directly influenced future killer vehicle films such as Christine and Maximum Overdrive, the Peterbilt truck from Duel from 1971 was actually the very first epitome of what a possessed vehicle could do if the owner of your own car decided to tell you one thing. That truck didn't look normal. It looked evil. It looked like it was going to chase you. It looked like it was hunting. That's just exactly what the Peterbilt truck from the movie Duel actually was. It wasn't just a truck, it was pure evil on wheels. The sound of the transmission grinding almost looks like a mechanical roar. The mechanical beast wasn't meant to have a face. It doesn't need to have a voice. It doesn't need explanation. It just needs mechanical violence, terror, and rage. The sound of a truck roaring in your rear view just makes it more terrifying. Sometimes real movie villains in Duel wasn't just the driver, it was the vehicle itself. And what we know from killer car movies is not just pure fiction. Sometimes fear can become in an unexpected place. It can be a sentient or non-sentient object, like a truck. The Peterbilt truck from the movie Duel was actually a mechanical beast that roared, not with blood but by diesel. And that's what makes the truck even more terrifying. It wasn't just a truck, it was a mechanical monster. A monster that roars with diesel, not by blood. And that's exactly how Steven Spielberg made a killer car movie, the very first concept of how future movie vehicles became monsters of their own right in other horror genres that involved cars. Thank you for watching. Make sure that you go comment, like, and subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Bye!